Fixing, okay? This is going to change the whole niggin. Listen how everyone sings it, and listen how it shouldn't be sung, okay? Delete. Listen closely, okay? Because it's a whole different niggin. Bum 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 bim bum 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 bim bum bim bim bum bum da da da. Different niggin, trust me. Try it again. I die, 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 da la 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 la, da la 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 la, da 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 da, I da 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 la 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 la, da 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 again. I die, da da la la, da da la 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 la, da la 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 la. Da 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 la 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 ay la 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 ay la 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 oh 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 bam 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 bam. Ay dai dai da da da, ay dai da 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 la la, ay dai da 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 la la, ay la 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 la, ay da 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 bum 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 bum, la 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 la, la 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 la, oh 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 oh, ay la 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 la. Ay, la 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 la, bum bum. there's so many nigunim like that the way the world sings it, it's not the right way. But sometimes like certain notes in a song when they're not there, like the difference between da 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 da. It's a different world. I'll give you one more example, okay? Sing like this. Sing. You continue to sing with me, okay? I cringe. Kiva moed, kiva moed, kiva. Stick two notes up there. Stay twice. Kiva moed, kiva moed, and not or kiva moed. Not his. I mean, that's just a whatever. I'm not. This isn't. It's been intense enough. No need for extra intensity. But basically, I'm like so many of the nigunim. We're already there. Okay. This is a very, very special and auspicious day today, as was mentioned before. It's the yarzeit of the Bas Ayin. The Bas Ayin, the Heilige Tzaddik Rav Avraham Avaritch, was a Talmud of Rebbe Berditchever, Rebbe Motel, Chernobler. And the Seudah is in memory, as we've spoken about in the past. We had a whole shiur on why Dafka there is a Seudah, a special Ayin to make a Seudah. And I want to thank the sponsors making sure we had this today. Rav Biederman goes onto it every single year. In Wellsprings, the whole concept of Dafka and the yarzeit of the Bas Ayin to be making a Seudah. And like I said, in previous years, we've gone more that route of his life, v'chulei. There's one obviously important thing that's very, very chashuv to mention, is that the Bas Ayin is in the beginning of the 19th century, but he comes to Eretz Yisrael. He makes Aliyah to Eretz Yisrael in 1831. He goes up to Tzfas. In the book Bas Ayin, which is it's not a simple book. It's not a simple sefer. In his book Bas Ayin, he speaks about a main theme over there is Anava and Shiflus, and of course, Eretz Yisrael, and the midah of Yiskashrus to Eretz Yisrael, and of course Shabbos. So what I wanted to do today in Arad Bas Ayin is to learn a short piece of his on Shabbos and Eretz Yisrael, l'choved the yarzeit. Something very simple, and I think that it'll stem completely with the whole mahalach of everything we've been learning over here. Regarding, Bichlal, the Hachana l'Shabbos Shiurim, if you could pass these around. And the first piece over here is just something pretty short. I don't know where I got this from. It was just I have this explaining why the name of the Sefer Bat Ayin explains the depth of Shabbos and Eretz Yisrael. Bat Ayin. L'chaim, Baruch atah Eloheinu, Eloheinu melech haolam she'atam midbar. Okay. Hashem can do anything. Hashem can bring all the hostages home right now as we're speaking and completely bury beneath ground or in the sea to drown all of our enemies. Bezrat Hashem. Don't al tiftechu ben divim ben adam she'en lo tshua. We don't put our faith and trust into all the speculations of everyone. We put our faith and trust only and only in the Ribono Shel Olam. That Hashem can do anything. הספר בת עין נקרא כך בידי המחבר עצמו שהסביר. Why is the sefer called בת עין? Because the בת עין himself explained מפני שהכנסתי בכתבים קדושת ארץ ישראל. Because in my writings, I basically put into it the kedusha of Eretz Yisrael, אשר עיני השם אלוקיך בה תמיד. What do we know about Eretz Yisrael? It's the eyes of Hashem are always on the land. And that's why I call the sefer בת עין. But he explains further, למעשה, הספר נתפס רק לאחר פטירת המחבר. This came out after he passed away. תלמידו יצא לחוץ לארץ לגייס תרומות להדפסת הספר, ובכוונתו הייתה להדפיסו בחוץ לארץ. His Talmud went out to Chutz La'aretz from here to go and raise funds to print the sefer, And the plan was to print it there in Chutz La'aretz. But the Heilige Rishner, Rebbe Yisrael Miruzhin, Amar lo, Shira'ui latpis sefer zeh, dafka be'eretz Yisrael. The Rishner Rebbe told him, this is a sefer you don't print on a Polish or Russian printing press. Only in Eretz Yisrael. Kach haya habat ayin sefer chasidut harishon shenitpas ba'aretz. The Bas Ayin is the first Hasidic sefer printed in Eretz Yisrael. Now, what does this mean, Bat Ayin, besides the most incredible mikvahs that we have around the corner over here and the gorgeous landscape? What is Bat Ayin? So we have a famous pasuk, Shomreni keishon Bat Ayin. He's going to explain it over here. Hamusag Bat Ayin perusho hanekuda hashchora betoch ha'ayin. The black dot in your eye is what Bat Ayin is. Shebat tluya hareya. Sight is dependent on that black dot in your eye. Shomreni keishon Bat Ayin. Lefi Kabbalah, Bat Ayin hisod haShabbat. How? He's going to explain. Shabbat is hanekuda hapnimit shel hazman. Nachon? In terms of time, what's the nekuda pnimit of time? Shabbos, right? The nekuda pnimit. So the nekuda pnimit of the eye is the Bat Ayin. The nekuda pnimit, the inner point on a time level, on the time concept, is Shabbos. Ha'ot shin shel Shabbat, sheyesh la shlosha rashim. The shin has three, right? The three heads. Romezet lishloshet ha'avot, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Uleshlosha chalakim ba'ayin. And then there's three parts of the eye, which are what? Hachelek hamekif b'tzeva lavan, the outer area, which hopefully is usually white. Hamevin yavin, right? Ha'igul hatzivoni. And then you have, which is Avraham Avinu, Ha'igul hatzivoni. Then whatever the eyes of your color is, blue, whatever it is Ha'igul hatzivoni is Yaakov Avinu. V'nimei hadam shebuducho, the blood vessels that are in it, is Yitzchak Avinu. V'ilu habat hi habat ayin ha'ishon ha'shachor. How do you say ishon? Does anyone know? The pupil, thank you. The Ishon HaShachor, the black, the pupil is Keneged David HaMelech, Sfiras HaMalchus, Ashviz. It's like, in Kabbalah, every single particle, every single thing is Keneged Mashu, right? So again, the eye, what did he say over here? The eye is like, the white of the eye is Avram Avinu. The igul, the actual, the color of your eye is Yaakov Avinu. The blood that's in the eye is Yitzchak Avinu, but the pupil is David Malka Mashiach. This is Al Pi Kabbalah. Achen. So, Kmo Shabbat hi Bat Ayin b'memad hazman, just like Shabbos is Bat Ayin when it comes to the concept of time, Kach gam Eretz Yisrael b'memad hamakom. What's the nekuda pnimit mifchinat makom? Eretz HaKodesh. Eretz asher tamid einei Hashem Elokecha ba. A place where Hashem's eyes are always looking towards. And this is now the Bat Ayin's words. V'hine bechinas Shabbos hu hanekuda pnimit shel kol yemei hashavua. Haynu shebo b'Shabbat hu hashraat hashchina le'ashpia l'chol yemei hachol. Shabbos is the inner point of all days of the week. Meaning on Shabbos, there's ashras hashchina that comes down to then continue to flow to give sustenance to the rest of the days of the week. Zotomeret. Whatever you were feeling this week, any koach that you had this week, any hashra you had this week, any light you felt this week, any kind of hitorerut you felt this week, it wasn't only because the days have been so intense, but the kamut, the amount of koach and shefa to actually to get up and do anything, be'emet, came from last Shabbos. I know there's another teich that says it's actually a pull from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You're getting pulled from the Shabbos before, but it hasn't happened yet. The Shabbos ahead hasn't happened. Like we say, Tchila lemikrai kodesh, meaning the beginning of whatever holiness is going to happen in the week after. We say in Kiddush is coming from Shabbos. So he says that's what it is on the level of Zman. The sustenance that the days of the week receive to do anything comes from the kedusha of the nekuda pnimit of Zman, the inner point of Zman, which is Shabbos. V'chen, Eretz Yisrael hu hanekuda hapnimit shel kol ha'olam. Eretz Yisrael is the inner point of the whole world. ובבחינת ירושלים ובית המקדש בקודש הקודשים, hu הנקודה הפנימית לארץ ישראל. And the innermost point of the headquarters of the world, of Eretz Yisrael, is Yerushalayim Beis Hamikdash in Kodesh HaKodashim, shebo hashras hashchina להשפיע קדושה לכל העולם. From there, all the kedusha, any good thing that anyone ever does, any holy thing, any holy act that anyone ever does anywhere in the world, is basically drawn through Yerushalayim and the Beis Hamikdash. VeYisrael hema hanekuda hapnimit shel kol haumot. So nation-wise, what's the innermost point of all the nations of humanity? Am Yisrael. What's the innermost point of the kedusha of Zman? Shabbos. What's the innermost point of the kedusha of Makom? Even more, Beis Hamikdash, right? So what you see over here is that he's focusing on core. You know, he's focusing on like nekuda pnimit. He's not compromising. And he must have already been connected to this or already when he was still in Chutz La'aretz. Listen, to leave tzaddikim like he left to come to Eretz Yisrael means that he really believed in Kedushas Eretz Yisrael. You have to understand. Huh?
Especially in that time.
Especially in that time, and especially that he stayed here after the horrific earthquake that he went through in 1837, the famous earthquake in Tzfat. And he writes about it and he speaks about this. So we're dealing with someone, we have the schus to learning from the fountain of Torah from someone who's very sensitive to the nekuda pnimit, to going deep, to being connected to pnimius, to inside stuff, mamash, in a very holy way. So now he tells us a little bit of avoda. If he explained, now we know the name of the Sefer, Bat Ayin. We already understand a bit deeper, not just the name of the Sefer. When you go down to the Yeshuv, you also have more of a connection to the why it's called Bat Ayin. It's from the same place. But now we're going to hopefully go into the Nekuda Pnimit more of Lemaisa, of our preparing for Shabbos. So this is from this next text is from the Sefer Bat Ayin. Now it is a difficult Sefer. They came out with a beautiful perush the last few years, like a shtickle, like Steinsaltzi type of perush on the Bat Ayin that's available. I know that they were working on it also in English. I don't know if it came out yet. Someone could let me know. I didn't see it. Did anyone see it in English? I know Chevra are working on this very hard to put it out in English as well. Chaim, you have the Hebrew one, eh? Yeah, it's great. It's great, but the Sefer is hard.
Oh, the one with the perush or something.
The one with the perush is phenomenal. It's great. I have it in the office. But even with that, it's a very deep Sefer. It's a very high level of learning. There was a piece I was thinking of doing on the Parsha, in Parshas Vayetze, with Lavan, and he starts going into Lavan and Loben, all these. You did. It's wild stuff. But we're gonna try to stick to something that I think we could hold on to. B'Shabbos tzarich ha'adam lishmor et atzo b'maaseh dibur u'machshava. We know a person has to guard himself on Shabbos with every action, with every word I say, and with machshava. Now, what's the hardest one out of all three? Machshava. And we're gonna learn why, and we're gonna learn how there could be even an expectation from us to actually be guarding our thoughts and how that even happens. How does someone guard their thoughts? And you all know that when you know you're supposed to guard your thoughts the most is when brother other side comes and messes with us like it's no one's business. I shared with you one time I was in Australia. Right before I was chazan in this wonderful kehila. It's Rosh Hashanah. It's Rosh Hashanah in Melbourne, and it was Shachris was such a bad machshava episode that I was thinking of telling the Rav there, take away half of my salary. Hopefully tomorrow I'll still daven second day, but there's no way you want me as a shliach tzibur. Like I was so embarrassed of myself. And I couldn't wrap myself around it. I was like, I can't believe I flew all the way out here, and my machshavas are just awful and dark and depressing. And then I remembered that the only thing I'm supposed to be doing right now, lemaise on an asay level right now, is lishmaya kol shofar, is to hear the voice of the shofar. So when I said, okay, that's all I have to do right now, it like zapped me. But and then I followed the voice of the shofar in daven musaf. I have no idea how it was, but I know that I was able to daven musaf. What I mean to say is that dafka, when we know that everything's on the line, that the machshavas are crazy. I saw this amazing edut of a family that explained, I don't know what yeshuv they were in the south, but when the mechablim came in and they were hiding for hours, that they repeated over, the parents, I think, and 2 children, and they repeated over and over and over again, machshavot quietly, machshavot tovot, ay, 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 diburim tovim. That niggun that's been going on lately. And they just over and over again, machshavot tovot, ay, 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 mama. Sitting there until the mechablim hours later left. בשבת צריך האדם לשמור את עצמו במעשה, בדיבור ובמחשבה, ועל שניים הזהירנו הכתוב בפירוש. On 2 of these elements of מחשבה דיבור מעשה, we have very clear warnings from Chazal. על המעשה, on action שנאמר, לא תעשה מלאכה. So it's clear, the Torah says, okay, there's something you shouldn't do. Okay. ועל הדיבור. And then also regarding the way you speak, the Torah says, v'daber davar. Clear statements regarding those 2. You got to be careful with, you can't do action. V'daber davar, make sure shelo yeh diburcha b'shabbat kediburcha b'chol. You got to make sure. And we've been encouraging here, chavra, not just at the Seudah, but even the shmuzas walking home with each other. Different conversations than what you'd have during the week. It's just got to be different. Lo yeh diburcha b'shabbat kediburcha b'chol. Got to make a conscious effort, that, and not to make someone feel bad, like he's starting to ask you a question that's like a weekday question. It's like shagets. No, not that. Chachma. We have a way of stirring. Kind of like you're in the driver's seat at that moment. Like you could go to the lane that you want to do in a kovedik way, not to make anyone feel bad. So we have those 2 things. That's very clear. The Torah tells us, make sure the actions are not wrong, and the dibur is not wrong either. ודרשו רז"ל שלא יהיה דיבורך של שבת כדיבורך של חול. ואלו השניים הם ביד כל בני אדם. The Basayin says, these 2 things, it's more or less like decision. Like, I could do that. I can make a decision that I'm not going to drive my car on Shabbos. I'm not going to turn on a light. Whatever malacha it is, I'll have to first learn the lamated malachas to make sure I'm not doing it. But I can do that. And I could also be a baal peh. I could be a master over my mouth. We can. והרשות נתונה לשמור את ידו מלעשות ופיו מלדבר ונקרא. This is what's called הנגלות לנו ולבנינו עד עולם. The revealed things. These are things that are revealed, because when I speak or I do an action, that's something that's revealed, that's seen, right? But we have another pasuk. We have the pasuk starts a little bit differently. Before it says in Nitzavim, Haniglos lanu levaneinu, what does the pasuk start there? Hanistarot laHashem Elokeinu. What's nistarot? Machshavas. Hanistarot laHashem Elokeinu. Aval machshava balev umoach shehem nikraim nistarot. But thoughts that are in the mind or in the heart, those are called the concealed ones, the concealed things. Einam beyad adam. The Basayin saying, it's actually not so much in your hand. So what does that mean? Oh, thank God, I have a p'tor now. I'm exempt from all machshavas. He says, it's not in my hand. The thoughts start coming. It's not in my hand? No. He says, this is just Hashem Elokeinu. So what does that mean? Hu noten zot b'matana lahazocheh. What's the gift of Shabbos? The gift of Shabbos that Hashem gives me a gift. So we know matana tova yesh li bebeis genazai was Shabbos Shema. I have a gift in my genazim, in my treasure, like but geniza, ganuz means concealed, really, right? I have a gift in my concealed department for you. And what's it called? Shabbos. The Basayin is saying something so deep. What is the actual gift that Hashem gives you on Shabbos? Hanistarot, Hashem Elokeinu. So what's the gift that He gives you? Machshava tovot. That's the gift of Shabbos, actually. You see, this is actually a maradik chiddush, saying that's actually the gift of Shabbos, that you're able to have machshavot tovot, because you don't have any control over that. I mean, you could work on it, achanas, mikvah, tzedakah, like whatever you need to do before Shabbos to prepare yourself for it. And all those things, of course, help. But at the end of the day, you all know, even when you did all the preparations in the world, and there's so many Baal Shem Tov stories about Hasidim, that did so many preparations before they came to the Rebbe, And then they finally are about to get to the Rebbe, and the biggest mania in the world, the biggest obstacle comes and prevents the actual meeting from happening. And the same thing over here with Shabbos, that at the end of the week and at the end of the Zman, to actually have a Shabbos of Machshavot Tovot, he's saying over here, that's the gift. That's the matana. This is what Hashem gives. This is the reward He gives to the one that won. Ramzu Razal. This is what the Gemara means when it says, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu leMoshe, Matana Tova Yeshli Bevez Genazai V'Shabbos Shema. I have a good gift in my concealed department, in the treasure chest that no one can see, and it's called Shabbos. So how does he learn this out from here? V'dikdeku bilshonam lomar bebeit genazai. What could have it said? What could have the Gemara said? Matana Tova Yeshli. Shabbos Shema. I got a great gift. It's called Shabbos. Where is this great gift stored? Bevez Genazai, in the place that no one can see. The Bazayin saying, Hashem's saying, this great gift is stored in a place that no one can see. That means it's going to access the place that no one can see. That's not Dibur, and that's not Maisa. It's Machshava. It's thoughts. That's where the gift comes from. That's where the gift goes to. Al derech haniskar, hanistaras l'Hashem Elokeinu, vehu bivchinas hamachshava. And this is what the aspect of thought is correlating to. Shetiyeh Shabbat Shama. Perush. Shetiyeh hamachshava gam ken b'kedushas haShabbos. You know, if you could actually be thinking about kedushas haShabbos throughout Shabbos, do you know what your Shabbos would be like? Not just that the nigunim are good, or the food is good, and the talking is good, and the non-committing actions are working, but that your thoughts are actually thinking about Kedushat Shabbat throughout Shabbat. Can you imagine what that's like? I mean, the davening is supposed to help us with this. The zmiros are supposed to help us with this, because all the words are basically plugging us into the Kedusha of Shabbos. But if a person spent the 25 hours of Shabbos, or hopefully 27, 28 hours of Shabbos, thinking about the Kedusha of Zman, meaning thinking about the Nekuda HaPnimit right now of time, I think what would happen to him is that he'd be spending more time thinking about the Nekuda Pnimit of the people of the world, which is Kedushas Yisrael, and he'd be spending more time thinking about the Nekuda Pnimit of Makom, of space, which would mean you'd spend Shabbos thinking about, even more than that, you'd be spending Shabbos actually thinking about Beis HaMikdash. Now, Kabbalah Shabbos is designed like this, you understand? Mikdash Melech Ir Milucha Kumi Tzei Mitocha Afecha. He's already Kiva Orech Kumi Ori. All the words we say in Lechadodi are actually helping us make sure that our thoughts are thinking about what they should be thinking about at that moment. You just got to follow the flow, and also that other thing which is a little bit worthwhile. You have to learn Hebrew. Okay, no one's in that mood today. Okay. Yeah, you just got to learn what you're saying. You know, it's like an Indian. Perush shetiyah machshava gam ken b'kedushas Shabbos. Zeh bechina hi beves genazai dafka. V'ani notna b'matana tova lechol hazoche. Hashem says like this. There's a you could win. You merit. You know. Now you want to. There's a thing you win. You win over here. You merit something. What is this? Machshavot tovot. Machshava. That's the gift of Shabbos, because we all know that the whirlwind of thoughts that make us feel so disgusting about ourselves is a jail cell. It's literally a jail cell. And we would do anything in the world to unlock the cell, or it's like usually these thoughts we have, mamish put us in handcuffs. But we don't realize that the only person that can get us out of the handcuffs is not any kind of trick or anything. It's just a gift from above. And that's why a person has to daven for Rachmanis on their own souls, that they should be zocha, that at least once a week, for a period of a full day of time, the thing that usually keeps me in jail tells me I can get out of jail for 25 hours. So some people say, well, what good is it? I'm going to be going back to jail on Motzei Shabbos. But if you have a little bit of chokhmah, you say maybe during these 25 hours, I can instill myself with so much holiness that I don't have to put myself back into my handcuffs the second that the time is over. Now, in our time, it's like you feel it even more, because how fast do we go to the pocket computer, once we spent that 25 hours out of jail? How fast are we so... Because the pocket computer is the thing that triggers, again, the thoughts that aren't necessarily what we want. And I'm not just talking about impure, obviously impure sexual thoughts. Obviously, that's the door is always, when we say, bad thoughts, we always go like that. It's not just that. When we say bad thoughts, it's bad thoughts about other Yidden, bad thoughts about ourselves, about our self-confidence, about how filthy we are. There's so many things over here that go under bad thoughts. Or bad thoughts about the state, not the state, Medina, but the state of Am Yisrael, of the world. And a lot of bad thoughts, right? Within it, through the Kedusha of Shabbos, through the Kedusha of Yisrael, and the Kedusha of the Makom, keeping our eye on what it's really all about, Nikudot Pnimiyot, we can get out of all the cells that we may have been put in. Yeah, Shachar.
What you said about getting out of the jail cell for 25 hours just reminded me of an idea that I learned, and I was just curious if you could expand on it. That on Shabbat, the souls in Shamayim, they're out of Gehenna, and then when we say Behu Rachum, they return. They're like...
It's, yeah, but then we say again, Hine Kel Yeshuasi Eftach V'lo Efchad, meaning it's true, they return. I don't understand, obviously I don't understand that fully, but this time I say, you know what, maybe I have to come out of Gan Eden, but this time I had enough Shabbos of Machshava Tova, Hine Kel Yeshuasi Eftach V'lo Efchad. I'm not scared of the week this time, because I remembered what I'm all about. I remembered what I really want, and I remember who I really am. And this time, even if I have to come back in the concept of this world to deal with this world, I'm not scared of it this time. Like for me, the strongest point, kimat, of what happens on Shabbos and Motzei Shabbos is the kavana of the words eftach velo efchad. Eftach velo efchad. Not just that I'm not scared that Chalila there are going to be rockets falling here. Lo efchad of dealing with the world again. Because Shabbos was Shabbos this Shabbos. But if my Shabbos was speaking about Scott Baio at the Shabbos table, Hine Keli Shoati, Eftach Velo Efchad? Question mark? You right? Eftach Velo Efchad? Or you understand what I'm saying by Baio? Like,
did something happen with him?
No. I'm saying when that becomes like somehow part of the dibur, right? Then can I, eftach v'lo efchad, I don't know. Can I really say eftach v'lo efchad, right? That's what. How do you know your Shabbos was on? Where are you when you say eftach v'lo efchad? So I have to go back. I'm not in Gan Eden. Eftach v'lo efchad.
We can also maybe take some comfort, even though it's not Shabbos, in recognizing that what day are you entering into? Hayom Yom Rishon
B'Shabbos. Bottom paragraph, guys. We're finishing. Last two lines. Al ken tzarich ha'adam. Chavra. Honestly, it's so childhood that I mentioned Scott Baio for a second. You guys can't stop talking about Scott Baio. It's like ridiculous. Go to the nekuda pnimis of what I'm saying. Emet. I'm talking about this whole door that we're in, that we for years we thought we can get away with the shtuyot, and it doesn't work anymore. The whole modern stuff just doesn't work. Go inside with me. I'm not talking to you kindergarten stuff. I'm trying to give over the deepest depths of life right now. Be'emet.
Can we talk about the soldiers in the situation?
Adarabah, K'doshe Elyon. What are you talking about? When you talk about a soldier today, you're talking about Aaron HaKohen. But if the talk of soldiers leads you to talk about Kilu Rambo, or like the other side of it, the way the world shows then it's Gamkin Shtuyot. A soldier is Aaron HaKohen. Pashut. Soldier is Aaron HaKohen. Of course you have to. Al ken tzarich ha'adam lekadesh et atzmo b'kedushat Shabbat b'maaseh u'b'dibur tchila. Therefore, a person has to sanctify himself first regarding the stuff that he has some kind of a shlita over. which is some kind of control over, which is what? Maaseh and Dibur. That's the beginning. That's what's in my hand. That's what I could control. ויבקש מהשם שיהיה בעזרו, וייתן לו המתנה טובה שיהיה. So then you just say, Hashem, look, I'm refraining from the malachas, I'm learning the malachas, I'm trying to get it better every week. And I'm making a conscious effort that my dibur really is different. It really is different. And every week it'll grow more and more that the dibur is different. But, he says, at that point I say, but Hashem, on that thing over here called machshavas hanistaras, Hashem Elokeinu. That's on you. I'm not trying to exempt myself and say it's okay to have bad thoughts, but you know, with all the good dibur and all the good ma'asim and refraining from the bad ma'asim, at the end of the day, it's if you want to give me the gift of having machshavot tovot, it's on you. This is the tefillah of going into Shabbos. Veivakesh me'Hashem sheyeh be'ezro. What I said. I grew up in the world I grew up in. I saw what I saw. Everything's all me'urbav. I'm doing my best. But at the end of the day, to have machshavot tovot can only be if you want to give me that gift. It won't come any other way. It won't happen any other way. I could have tricks. I could do all the different tricks and all these things. But at the end of the day, the machshavot tovot, hanistarot, l'Hashem Elokeinu. Yeah.
But we have to be active in it?
I can't hear you.
We have to be active in it?
In the tefillah. You have to be active in the tefillah. Can we be bold enough to go into Shabbos saying that? Saying, look, Hashem, I'm going to do my best lishmor al pi. I'm going to change it. I'm going to do my best to make sure that I'm not doing any melachas. But Ribono Shel Olam, please fill my mind with just machshavot tovot v'kedoshot. If you could do that a minute before you walk to shul, I think it'll be a completely different hargasha of Shabbos. I think so. I believe so. V'iten lo hamatan. So you know what? We know. So I'm taking the Bas Ayin's word. Why? Because he ends off on the bottom line. V'iten lo hamatana tova, and then you'll get the good gift. Sheyeh gam machshavot libo umocho kdoshim b'kedushas Shabbos laHashem. That also the thoughts, and you see how he says here. Whenever he says the word machshava, he's not just saying machshavas of the moach. He keeps on saying machshavas lev. What's the difference between the machshava of the moach and the machshava of the lev?
Hargasha versus
Choliot.
One's intellect and one is like inner passions. And
that's what the Mei Shiloach calls binat halev. It means the wisdom of the heart. That means that it's the thoughts that are much more attached to inner wisdom, where basically they produce emotions immediately. So what you're really saying with machshavot tovot kedoshot is that my emotions, my feelings of who I am and what the world is should also be, it should be good on that level too. I mean, there's a lot more to elaborate on that, the difference between machshavas lev and machshavas moach and Chassidus. There's a lot over there. The Mittler Rebbe, I think, has a lot on this. There's a lot on it. Shegiyeh gam machshavot libo mocho kedoshim b'kedusha Shabbos laHashem. So Alavayim, the schus of the Bas Ayin, who's, remember, he's connecting us to the Nekuda Pnimis. I want to give you all a bracha when you say Good Shabbos. I already said this a long time ago, and it worked for about a week. But I think it's good to try it again. Look into the eyes of the person that you're saying Good Shabbos to. But now, or Shabbat Shalom, or Shabbos Shalom, or however you want to do it. But I'm saying now, even when you're looking into the eyes, you look into the Daven Malka Mashiach, look into the Nekuda Pnimi, says, listen. They think we're crazy already, right? They think we're already lost it. But so we might as well just go fully overboard. And now when people come to shul, like Rav Shlomo said something. He said, only crazy people actually are the ones that make the big shifts in the world, Only the real crazy ones are the ones that when you listen back to them afterwards, they're the ones that actually made the real essential changes and shifts in the world. So if looking into someone's eyes, looking into the pupil, while you say Good Shabbos to someone, let that be the crazy. Right? Let that be the craziness in the world. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right.
With the huggy eye
Shabbat
contact.
Shalom. Good Shabbos. It's not for
You
Good
have to add
Shabbos.
the-
Good
the
Shabbos.
interruptions,
Good
so you'll be
Shabbos.
fine.
Good Shabbos. Good Shabbos, everybody.
Was that dedication?